What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building, you feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks, alright? Let's get straight right into it. So you already know, I'm gonna be talking about what the world is talking about right now, the MVP race. Obviously, we already knows between the two, which is basically was the captains for the All-Star game between Lebron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, we're going to look into what I think, what is today, March 5th, what I think, who's going to end up winning it, or what I kind of see up to this point, what's going on, the narrative, the story, the numbers, all that type of stuff. We're just going to give into that, dive into that context, because I give you that context, all right? So let's get straight right into it. So you already know, basically, obviously, context for LeBron. So I'll give context for each individual. So context, will start off with LeBron James. Obviously, he's been a four-time MVP before. You get what I'm saying? And he hasn't been an MVP in a long time. But the context for him, especially last season, he obviously had a good season stat-wise, but when it comes to the standard that he set, especially before last season, he just came off 8 straight finals, you know what I'm saying? So him doing that and coming to the Lakers, you know what I'm saying, after losing to the finals and getting swept, coming to the Lakers, you're thinking, okay, he's going to have a resurgent season, all this type of stuff. He went to the Lakers, a lot of the young guys, Ingram, the whole story, Ingram, Lonzo, all those guys, right? And obviously then he created turmoil, you know what I'm saying, with the 80 situation and all that type of stuff, and then the pouting, and then not doing this, not doing that. Kuzma has to push him on defense, the bloopers, all that type of stuff. It wasn't good when it came to the aesthetics, right? And it came to the story. A lot of people were, turning on him and all that type of stuff. And then they were calling him the Wash King, hence his resurgence for this summer. I'm going to be back, all of that type of stuff. Made the AD trade. So basically his context is he didn't make the playoffs for the first time in a long time. Since his first season in the NBA or whatever. So him not making the playoffs obviously makes it like, geez, like what's going on here? Is he actually declined? What's going on? His numbers was good, but is his production, obviously that type of stuff. That's what a lot of people were talking about when it comes to LeBron, though, when he has an elite roster. So they traded for AD. They got all these type of pieces. Kawhi didn't go there. But, you know what I mean? I'm just doing like a blur, long story short. He has AD, and it's a dynamic dual situation and a lot of crucial pieces, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of, I don't know if it fully fits right. We'll see in the playoffs, but on paper, it looks right. There's no excuses, etc. So now they're number one in this year, especially going from not making the playoffs to number one this year. Obviously, it's a different, last year doesn't really translate to this year because it's a whole new roster. You can't say, oh, he was number one last year, but he's number one this year, all that type of stuff. You have to go what's expected of the season. So for instance, like other years when Westbrook won the MVP and he made the stats, he made the triple-double history. It's like coming into the season, were they supposed to be a contender, or coming into the season, that one year where Harden kind of was supposed to win it versus Curry. Whereas Harden and them supposed to be a contender, the Rockets? No, and then they jumped into the second seed and were snapping, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of what your expectation is going into the season. Do you exceed it, or do you meet it, or what do you do? It's not really, oh, he was this last year, but now he is this year. That's only, they're trying to only apply that for LeBron, but that's normally never supposed to be the context at all, especially when it comes to season by season MVP. You get what I'm saying? So when it comes to that, basically, obviously LeBron, with the storyline for him is that he has a lot of story benefits. That's, a lot of storyline and a lot of good things that's kind of that's positively coming towards his way and affecting his claim or his case for MVP. So when it comes to him, it's obviously, okay, we got the whole 17th season, age 35. No one has ever won MVP at that age. I think Karl Malone was the oldest, something similar around there, but no one's ever won MVP at that age. No one's ever at his age. He's the oldest to lead the league in assists, you know what I'm saying? And this is the first year he's ever done it. He's never had double-digit assists or led the league in assists, you know what I'm saying? And then he's had so many triple-doubles, obviously. And then obviously his team is number one in the West. The whole, obviously, LeBron, if he's in the West, he's not going to be this and all type of stuff. So he has a lot of cases that's going for his way when it comes to storyline. Let's look at his actual numbers. His numbers is he's averaging right to this date of March 5th, 25.4, so 25 points per game, because remember, 25.5 we round up. So right now he's averaging 25 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, so 8 rebounds, 10.7 assists, so 11 assists, 25 points per game, 8 rebounds, 11 assists, 50% from the field, 35% from 3, which is actually decent. It's solid. Like, it's actually solid. Because remember, like I told long time ago, I gave my whole percentage range, you know, and 33% is something that I say is not really too good. You know what I'm saying? But 35% is actually solid. It's very solid. Like, that's actually a solid number. You know what I'm saying? 69% from the free throw line is atrocious, but his PR is good and his win shares is actually solid. It's great. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, his numbers, those are his numbers. So when we look at that, you can see that. And not only that, he has a duo with him who's threatening these type of numbers. You know what I'm saying? AD. So it's kind of like that should be a negative towards him. It's the same kind of situation where KD, Steph didn't get no, you know, they didn't get no MVP because it's kind of like a elite duo. It's like kind of like you have this guy with you, or we can't really, you know what I mean? It kind of cancels out. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it should be looked at with this. But you already know, because it's LeBron James, they already erased all kind of logic. They erased all the context that they apply to everybody else. And this is not no hate. I'm just being truthful. When it comes to LeBron, he basically, a lot of things don't apply to him because it's LeBron. And I'm just being real. That's just being real to y'all. Me, that they have an infatuation for him, which you should. Because again, like I said, he's off the court GOAT, all this type of stuff that he's doing. So, and he's been the face of the league for a long time, perfect role model, etc., etc. So I understand that, but for me, that doesn't apply, and it's not applicable to on the court. For me, the game is the game, like I've been said from time. When truth talks, you listen. The truth in the game is what I care about. I care about artistry. That's all I care about. Arsenal. I care about what the game shows me. Truth to the game first, everything else second. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to that, like I told you, there's a lot of positives for him. But when it comes to, you know, yeah, there's a lot of positives for him. So when I'm looking at that, I'm like, okay, he has a case. He has a solid case. But for me, the reason why I say that LeBron James can't be MVP at this point, because like I just explained, the KD situation, he has a dual partner with him he's not like a duo who's kind of like a B duo. He's actually 1A, 1B. Like, they're actually both elite. You know what I'm saying? They're both elite production wise. So it's like, how could you just cater to one? Because without AD's defense, who is threatening defensive player of the year, you know what I'm saying? Like, how could you win MVP and then another teammate win defensive player of the year who's not a role player? It's not like the Steph and Draymond situation. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the Steph Draymond where it's like one's more so a role player and then one's actually an MVP. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. This is actually two elite guys, two elite MVP candidates, and then one's almost an MVP and a defensive player of the year. So it's kind of like, it kind of cancels each other, but they're obviously going to give the benefit of the doubt for LeBron because he has the storyline. He has all the other thing that benefits him. So now when we go to the other candidate, who is Giannis Antetokounmpo, so his context is he won MVP last year, almost won Defensive Player of the Year as well. He was in the top 3 candidates for Defensive Player of the Year. It was him, Paul George, and Rudy Gobert. Gobert won it out, but Giannis won the MVP. And when he won the MVP, the context was his team was number 1 in the East. The Raptors were number 2, etc., etc. They're supposed to go to the finals because they have the MVP. They had the best record with a decent, a decent margin. That's what they had. I said margarine because it's butter. You know what I mean? They had a decent margin and win margin. You know what I mean? So when you look at it from that perspective, they were expected to go to the finals, and then Giannis got basically exposed in the finals, in the conference finals, by Kawhi and the Raptors, the Wall, etc., etc. And they won 2, lost 4 straight, and he got shut down. So when he got shut down, that's obviously gonna leave a type of some type of soreness, some type of you know, ill will, some type of, I don't know though, in everybody else's eye. But at the end of the day, that's individualized. You know, that's irrelevant to this season. It's irrelevant to this season because at the end of the day, that context is that context, and it should not be applicable to this season because this season they were expected to be the number 1, but he actually is overachieving within as being number 1 because they're on pace for a record-setting historic type of season. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that perspective, they might get 70 wins, right? That's in his favor. He's number 1. He's leading history. I think history for a PER. You know what I mean? That's what he's leading. And then obviously he's number 1 on that. Like I said, PER. And then we look at his stats. He's averaging 30 points per game because we round from 0.5 up. So 30 points per game, 14 rebounds per game, 6 assists per game, 55% from the field goal, 31% from three, which is, it's not elite, but it's not bad, but it's good. Sorry, let me play it like this. It's good for Giannis. Everybody else is basically, it's not good, right? But it's good for Giannis, especially for someone who's been atrocious at 3-point line. So the fact that he's jumped to that is solid because he's been worse than that. And then his free throws is atrocious. It's only 63. But his PR is, look at this PR. What kind of reckless 32? My goodness, yo. And then the win shares is reckless. Like, he's actually doubling in LeBron in so many categories. He's actually reckless. And he's not too far. The only thing he's getting beat recklessly in is assists. But everything else he's destroying LeBron in, right? Other than 3-point percentage, but I mean like the, the points, the rebounds, etc. Right? So when we look at it from that perspective and the PER and the win shares, so when we look at it like that, it's like Giannis is actually clearly the numbers show, the records show, the team record, everything shows it should be Giannis for the MVP. Like, he should be a reigning MVP, back-to-back MVP. That's clearly what it's saying and what it's showing that he should be. But like I said, he doesn't have the storyline because his storyline is he was MVP last year, locked up in the conference finals when it mattered most. Nah, LeBron didn't make the playoffs, but resurgent season, and we know what he does in the playoffs. So it's kind of like it benefits him. But Giannis is also, which is a main case, which a lot of people aren't talking about. His duo, his other all-star, is Middleton. Someone who wasn't a starter. Who wasn't a starter on the all-star. He wasn't voted in. He's only been getting there. He only got there by being coach's reserves. Now, it doesn't mean Middleton is a scrub because he's actually their closer for them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of games, Giannis fouls out, etc., etc. But when you look at the name, when you look at the production, Middleton is not on an AD type of level. He's not an MVP type of candidate level. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that perspective, it's literally 1 and 2. 1-2 punch. It's not 1A, 1B. They're not in no comparison. They're not in the same breath. They're not in the same light. They're not in the same sentence. Giannis and Middleton. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that perspective, that's a huge boost and a huge claim and case when it comes to Giannis going for the MVP and making that case. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that's in his favor that trumps LeBron. So all these things are in Giannis's favor, and he should be, it shouldn't even be a race at this point. It shouldn't be, to be honest. When you look at all these accolades, all these things that add up, all the reasons why we looked in the past of why this person's MVP versus this person. Harden only got his, especially last year. Harden is doing the numbers stuff. He's doing the stats. Other years he's doing the numbers stuff, and he's killing with solid with a decent win. And they tell you winning matters, winning matters, winning matters. Giannis did that last year. He's doing it again this year. Now you're going to tell him no? They always be changing and flipping the criteria, and that's the problem when it comes to that. They pick and choose when to apply it and when not to apply it, when it actually should be this way every single time. Consistency. Stop moving the goalposts. Stop changing shit. And I already know it's because of this whole LeBron infatuation. They want to give him that, that storybook ending for him, and because he's doing great, which is not no knock. He actually is doing great. But like I said, you can't give MVP based off of a story. Or else if that was the case, Harden would have won it last year because he was doing historic stuff when it comes to scoring. When that whole stretch he went on, that 40-point stretch and all that stuff. So I don't want to hear that shit, man. Honestly, I don't want to hear that shit. But I already know if I have to make my predictions from now moving forward. So first things first, we're going to look and see. And the man is number 1 in PR. And then he look at this. Look at his defensive win shares. He's number 1. LeBron is number 10. He's actually slapping in every category. Number 1 on defense and number 1 on offense. And his win share shit is not hella. To me, I don't really, people who compute the stats, I look at the game and I get my stats myself. You know what I'm saying? The only stats that I look at, the people who compute the stats is obviously the rebounds, the points, the missed shots, this. But other than that, all this advanced stuff, that's for people who just read numbers. Me, I don't care about that shit. Because look, it says Pascal's number 11th. He's number 11th in defensive win shares. I already know the truth. I already show you what he actually is. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, what it comes down to when it comes to these numbers that they always talk about, numbers, analytics, and this and that, Giannis is eating in all these categories. You know what I'm saying? He's eating. Number one in PER, offensive rating, basically. And then number one in defensive win shares. Like, he could actually win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. What? I think who's the only one? Was it Jordan who only wanted to do that? Like, come on now. Like, it's not even supposed to be a debate, but at the end of the day, you already know how media goes. Media's trying to always give it to this guy, LeBron. They love LeBron. And obviously, it's not just a love for LeBron, but because Kawhi is in the basement, you know what I'm saying? And he's actually threatening and he's doing these New Balance commercials and his king and all this type of stuff. It's like people feel it in their chest. They feel that he's coming. They see him losing game after game to Kawhi and he's actually on the court eating. So they now feel like, nah, they feel threatened. So they got to everything that comes LeBron, praise LeBron this, talk about all of that type of stuff. They got to keep going and keep going and keep going and bash Kawhi, bash Kawhi, bash Kawhi. The more LeBron could get, the more now you portray and prolong his best player in the league status. You know what I'm saying? And this MVP, him getting that, well, there's no way the next year, no matter what happens in the finals, is going to be, he won the MVP. He's still the best player. He just won the MVP. That's going to be done. You know, I can see through everything. I'm telling y'all, it might look like to the naked eye and to the naked person, Banks, you're tripping, you're reaching, you're this. I'm telling you what it is. I'm showing y'all, man. You could just go listen to media talk. Go listen. You guys watch the shows and whatever. Watch how they talk. You could see how they talked about Kawhi last year and how they talked about him this year. You see how they talked about LeBron last year and how they talk about him this year. You could see. I'm trying to show y'all something. Anyways, you already know. I think that at the end of the day, my verdict is something just telling me they're just going to give it to LeBron. A big sign for that was Westbrook should have won Player of the Month for how he's been snapping, but they gave it to LeBron. And then so they could give him multiple, so he could have that consecutive, or, you know, remember that whole, he's been the only player since Kobe with the Lakers to have consecutive, you know what I mean, Player of the Months. So they gave him that. They know these things, right? So they gave him that. Giannis has been running this whole Player of the Month all the time for the East. And then they give it to Jason Tatum. Now, Jason Tatum's been snapping. Bro, that boy's elite. That's what elite looks like. I've been called Jason Tatum's nice from time. When all these men, oh, Jason Tatum, da-da-da. I've been said he's a true artist. You know what I'm saying? He's under that tree, that KD tree. My God, that Christmas tree of KD. You see what I'm saying? With the light bulbs, because it's green light, it seems right. You feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Giannis's stats and all the stuff he's doing, like, I'm surprised he didn't win that. But you already know when it's like this, they're gonna, you know what, let's give it to Tatum, let's give it to LeBron, and so they could kind of, I know what they're doing. Giannis has the 2 or whatever, and then he has the 2. It's kind of like a battle. It makes it more of a race. It makes it more of a battle. It makes it more of a tight knit, you know, tail of the tape. We're looking at what's going on here. You know what I mean? Like, it makes it look like it's gonna come down to the last couple games of the finish line. Now they play Friday. Right, so when they play Friday, we'll obviously see it's another MVP matchup. We seen what LeBron did the first time, what Giannis did the first time. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens the second time, obviously. But if LeBron wins this game, and even if he doesn't win this game, I just feel like the narrative, the story, the media just loves this guy. He has too many people in this. It's one of those politics type of things. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he's gonna win. I'll be surprised if LeBron's on MVP if they give it to Giannis before they give it to LeBron. Because it's going to come down to these two guys. So I'll be surprised, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, it's True Talks. Because True Talks. Share, like, and subscribe. You already know. We out here. There's no doubt here. There's no drought here. You feel me? I give it that IQ because that's what I do. You already know. Share, like, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Bro, we got some elite games coming up, man. Anyways, you already know. Tune in. Spread the word. And I'm out, man.